Welcome back to another Mapbox video where today we're going to be covering how to create custom styles inside of Mapbox Studio. This is going to be a bit of a beginner's overview to the dashboard and also how to style your map just the way you want it. So you can see here I've got a new folder inside of my dashboard. We've got a new style here button where we can press, and also we have a drop down where we can upload, have a start a blank style, and also choose from a classic template. Now if you're extremely new to Mapbox Studio and you just want a very simple map, I would suggest clicking this new style button, as it gives you a very basic overview and also allows you to style it quite easily with different themes, so it's quite user friendly. If you come here, you can see we've got our faded. We can also change from faded to satellite. We can do dusk, which is quite a nice sort of not quite dark theme, but just slightly darker so it isn't too bright on the eyes. And then you can see there's quite easy ways to toggle off different labels and change your different visibilities. But for now, we're going to go back and we're going to create a classic template because we want to style this quite specifically. And in this case, I'm going to choose outdoors because this is one of my favorite default styles. Starting off in layers, we're going to go through the very basics. Let's say, for example, you want a very clean map. You don't want any labels on there. You are just using the map specifically for aesthetic purposes, and you don't want to have locations or certain things showing on the map. You can disable or change the visibility of these features by, if we just click on said feature, you can see we have land and water, which is a base layer. So most of the time you're going to stay away from this unless you're changing the color. And we can see we've got place labels. We also have the country label. So this represents the entire layer that it's from, or the source, and this is sort of the sub layer. So if we wanted to get rid of, let's say first, these minor settlement labels, and we just wanted to display the countries, we could go to our place labels. In the top drop down, we can find our settlement labels. If we right click that, we can toggle the visibility of these. And now you can see we can only see country labels. So it sort of clears up the map quite a lot. Now, in the case that you didn't want to see any labels whatsoever, we can just right click the main section and toggle the visibility of that. And then we've got a nice clear map. One of the things I always do on outdoors is I will toggle the road network motorway trunk most of the time to be invisible, but that's up to you. Specifically because of the redness, I just don't like it. But as I said again, that's up to you. If we zoom in further, you can see we've got these different highway shields, different, not necessarily place labels, but numbers, and also these backgrounds for our main highways or roads. These will differ between countries. But if we click on this, we can see our road number shield and our road primary. So this represents the line. As you can see, there's that line. And this T represents the text, but also it has an icon behind it. We go to the icon. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. So we're specifically on this one. We can increase the size of the icon to be much larger or much smaller, depending on what you want. If you're making a navigation app and this is important to you, it would be worth increasing these icon sizes. And of course, you would likely increase the size of the text as well with that, so everything is more visible. Let's say you want to keep all your place labels, but some of the small ones aren't showing up as fast as you would like. Let's say we're on zoom level 5 right now, and some of these sub layers, these sub labels aren't showing up. The reason for that is our label density. So if you come to the place labels and click on it here, down the bottom we have this range slider, and as we adjust the density, you can see they start showing up sooner, and this just allows more labels to be in a smaller proximity. Next thing on the list is fonts. Now we're going to learn how to upload a new font to our Mapbox app. It's pretty easy. All we have to do is click on fonts here. You can see I've got Graphic Web Regular, which is my favorite font. But if we wanted to add a new one, we can click on this, and in the sidebar here, you can see I've got Graphic Medium Italic. So we're just going to drag and drop this into our file upload and confirm that. And once it's done uploading, we will see it drops up in here. You can also see we've got a lot of Mapbox fonts anyways that you can choose from. And now we have our medium italic. Next, we're going to be learning how to add 3D terrain. So if we come to here, all we have to actually do is enable it. Now you probably won't be able to see from this far out, but if we zoom in a little bit further and then we pan, you can start to see that there's actually now 3D terrain. Now if you want to exaggerate this, you can just slide this up a bit further. Obviously it moves quite quickly. So I would just use decimals to start off with, and then slowly increment it from there. And then you can sort of get some quite cool extrusions. I wouldn't exaggerate this too much because it would make it a little bit less realistic. But if you're looking for a cool design which really shows the extrusions using different shadings at a far zoom, totally go for a large exaggeration of your terrain. I have done that before and it looks really cool. Some other really cool features is the ability to add snow. So in areas where it is snowing, we can just toggle this to be true. And if we zoom in, we will start to see small snow particles, which is a really, really cool feature Mapbox offers. As well as rain, we can toggle rain and we can see rain. I wouldn't go for the rain effect personally. I don't think it looks that cool, but that's totally up to you. It's an option there if you need it. Now, if we zoom right out, we've got our globe projection. If we wanted to change this, we have different options. So we can use mainly Mercator is pretty common, just a flat map. There are a lot of options, but it doesn't really matter what you choose. But usually I go for either Mercator or I go for a globe. But there are, some other options, but most of them don't matter, to be honest. So returning to globe, we just orientate it right and we zoom in a bit. We can change the atmosphere. So this is some pretty cool things we can do. We can increase the range, we can change the color. So if we come to here, you can make it more blue. I like to try and match my highlight color if I've got a branded map to the atmosphere a little bit. We can also change the space color. So if we want it to be slightly navy, we can change it here by just clicking on this. Now, maybe you don't want to have an atmosphere at all. You can toggle that off simply here. And then you have a transparent background, which can work quite well if you're having just a globe by itself embedded somewhere on a page and you're just using this for an effect. I've done that before, it's quite cool. You can have different lighting styles that are positioned behind the globe on your web page, which is a really cool option if you're looking for a completely branded map with some visual effects. But for now, we'll keep it back on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back to layers and we're going to start adding some custom layers using our own tile sets. Now I have a video about how to upload these, so I won't cover that here. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer. We're going to add a custom layer. And then we want to select our source. And let's just use, I believe it's this one, World Geo Cleaned. That looks good. Perfect. Okay. So here you can see this green color or this green fill. That is our source. Now you can see the type is set to fill. If we just switch to style, you can see it's all black. It's very bit ugly right now. We've got some gaps in the country's borders, essentially. And this is a publicly available GeoJSON dataset, which just has the polygon for each country, or just the outlines for each country. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to select data. And actually, no, we'll keep it as a fill first. We'll keep it as a fill. And we're going to set this fill color to purple. Let's go for a bit of a dark purple to make it look cool. We're going to set the opacity to 0.5. Let's go 0.08. Slightly, don't want to go too dark. That's pretty good, I like that. So now we've got this purple fill. It looks all right. You can see we've got the 1 pixel of stroke on the outside, giving it these border colors, but we don't really want that because you can see we've still got some gaps and it looks kind of ugly. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this dataset. And we're going to do that by, where is it? Duplicate selection, there we go. And we've got world cleaned copy. What I'm going to do is just rename this world cleaned, we'll go line. This we'll call cleaned polygon. Actually, yeah, polygon will be fine. We're going to go to cleaned line and we're going to select the data and change the type to a line. And we're going to keep the matching similar properties option. And then we're going to head back to style. And now you can see we've got a bit of a thicker line. It'd be a good idea to come back and find out 1 pixel of stroke and just completely make that transparent. And then for our world cleaned line, we're going to also increase the width by, let's go 2.5 just for the sake of this video. And now you can see that's actually that's a bit much. That's better. So now you can see we've got much more defined lines. it's a little bit harder to see these little gaps right now, and it looks a lot cleaner overall. Now you can change the color just in here, you can change the opacity just here, and if you ever make a mistake, you can reset just by clicking this back button, which is pretty awesome. This is usually a pretty good process to follow if you're adding polygons, just creating a separate layer that is used for the line, because most of the time the polygon itself with a stroke doesn't really look that great in my opinion. So I usually go for the option of having a fill as well as a line in two separate layers. Now, the last thing to cover, how do I put this map into a website? How do I use it? Well, what you can do is you can click share up here. If you want it to be active with the current effects, I would press publish. If you come up to share, you can share the style for somebody to use as a preview, to view. We just enter that here. I haven't updated it yet, so the effects won't be visible, but you can see this is our map, essentially. You can choose whether or not people can copy the style or not. And then there's the website embed, so you can copy this embed and paste it into your the HTML of your site and actually embed this custom map somewhere. You can adjust the height. This is an iframe, so it's pretty easy to add. Now, if you're using Mapbox GLJS and you want to reference your style URL, you want to copy this here. And there's also the access token. If you haven't made the map, the script yet, you can use your access token here to include in your script. Now, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope this was informative for you guys. And if you want to see any specific things shown on Mapbox Studio or just on maps using Mapbox GLJS specifically, be sure to leave a comment, and see you guys in the next one.